Most of us think we have a pretty good handle on our blood pressure. It's that number we get at the doctor's office, right? But what if I told you that that number is just the opening scene of a much, much bigger story? A story that for most people remains completely unseen.
So, let's just start with a number, 23.9%. Keep that in your head for a second. This figure, it's right at the heart of this huge, hidden problem in medicine. What do you think it represents?
Well, that number, 23.9%, it's the answer to this question. It is the actual percentage of people with high blood pressure who really have it under control according to the official guidelines. But here's the part that's truly going to blow your mind.
Check this out. This shows a massive gap between what we think is happening and what's really happening. Studies show that doctors believe almost 80% of their patients with hypertension are doing great, totally under control. But the hard data, the reality, it's less than 24%. This massive gap, it's called the control illusion.
So why? Why does this control illusion even exist? How can we have such a massive blind spot in something so basic, so fundamental as blood pressure? Well, the answer is all about how we measure it. This quote just nails it perfectly. That reading you get in the doctor's office, it's just a single photo, a snapshot. It's not the full movie. It shows you one single moment in time, but it completely misses the dynamic, constantly changing story of your cardiovascular system. So you see, to understand the real risk, we have got to look beyond that one number. There are all these hidden factors, these patterns that a simple snapshot just can't possibly capture. We're missing a ton of key data points. Things like blood pressure variability, the swings in your pressure over time, the cumulative burden. That's the total stress on your system over months, even years. Pulse pressure, which is the difference between your top and bottom numbers. And maybe the most important of all, we're missing what happens to your blood pressure when you're asleep. Let's just focus on that first one for a sec. Blood pressure variability, or BPV. Think of it like turbulence on a plane. A smooth flight is safe, right? But a really turbulent one puts a ton of stress on the aircraft. It's the same idea here. Big, frequent swings in your blood pressure are their own separate risk factor for everything from organ damage to cognitive decline. And that brings us to the most important part of this whole story. The secret life your blood pressure leads over a full 24-hour cycle. It has this natural, predictable rhythm, and it is absolutely critical to your health. And this rhythm, it's all governed by your body's own internal 24-hour clock, the circadian rhythm. This thing doesn't just manage when you feel sleepy. It's like a conductor for a whole symphony of your body's functions, and believe me, blood pressure is playing first violin. So here's what a typical 24-hour blood pressure story looks like. First, there's a sharp rise right when you wake up. That's called the morning surge. Then, throughout the day, it's going to go up and down with activity and stress. But the most crucial event happens at night. A healthy system gets to rest because your blood pressure takes a nice, significant dip. And this brings us to a really critical idea. People whose blood pressure drops by about 10 to 20% at night are called dippers, and that's the healthy pattern you want. But a lot of people are non-dippers. Their blood pressure stays high all night long, putting this relentless, non-stop stress on their heart, their brain, and their kidneys. And believe it or not, it can get even more serious. A smaller group are called reverse dippers. Their blood pressure actually goes up while they sleep. Research is crystal clear on this. That pattern is linked to a very poor prognosis, and yet it's completely invisible to a standard doctor's office reading.
Okay, so if that office reading is just a snapshot, how in the world do we see the full movie? Well, fortunately, we actually have the tools to do just that, and understanding what they are is key.
This table really breaks it down nicely. Office BP, that's your snapshot. Home monitoring is definitely better. It gives you more data points, but it's still really hard to know what's happening while you're actually asleep. The gold standard, the best we have, is 24-hour ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, or ABPM. It's a device you wear that automatically takes your pressure all day and, most importantly, all through the night. It reveals your true hidden pattern.
And why is that nighttime data so important? Well, the research on this is just undeniable. Your average blood pressure at night is a much more powerful predictor of heart attacks, strokes, and even overall mortality than your daytime number. That rest your body is supposed to get while you sleep, it's simply non-negotiable for your health.
So this all leads us to a whole new way of thinking about blood pressure. It's not just about hitting some target number in the doctor's office anymore. It's about understanding your personal 24-hour rhythm.
The stakes here are incredibly high.
Having an abnormal rhythm, being a non-dipper or a reverse dipper, that's not some small detail. It's directly linked to a higher risk of stroke and heart disease, early organ damage, cognitive decline, kidney failure. I mean, the list goes on. It is quite simply one of the most critical risk factors that we routinely miss.
So we're going to end right where we started, with a question. The next time you get that single number from a blood pressure cuff, I want you to ask yourself, is this just a snapshot, and what might the rest of the movie reveal about me? Knowing that answer, well, it can make all the difference.